Well, it's official, as I recently built my first gaming PC. I thought I'd revisit a game I completed to 100% multiple times before. I've now completed the same game on every system it's available on. PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC. And somehow, Prototype 2 still fails to scratch that itch. No matter the platform, no matter how many times I play it, I'm left with the same underwhelming feeling. It's a game that promises chaos and destruction, but delivers it with all the flair of a wet paper bag. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Demon, and today we're diving into Prototype 2, a game that's been ported to just about every system known to man, but still manages to feel bland, repetitive, and disappointingly hollow. Prototype 2 had potential, the open-world carnage, the biomutant powers, the whole revenge-driven plot with Sergeant James Heller. On paper, it should have been a brutal, action-packed ride. And for the first few hours, it is. But once the novelty of ripping through enemies wears off, what are you left with? A game that recycles the same missions, the same enemies, and the same lifeless grey city backdrop over and over again. Whether you're playing on the PS3 or PC, the lack of innovation sticks out like a sore thumb, and while the powers themselves are fun in short bursts, let's not kid ourselves. We've seen this kind of thing done better, and Prototype 2 rarely gives you a reason to experiment beyond the few core abilities you unlock early on. By the time you've evolved to your full potential, you're steamrolling through enemies without a second thought. Sure, you can consume people and take their form, but how often does the game actually encourage you to do anything clever with it? Not often enough. The plot? Well, it's there. But Heller as a protagonist feels one note, angry for the sake of being angry without much else going on. The revenge angle against Alex Mercer feels like a missed opportunity, lacking the depth needed to make it compelling. It's a typical rage against the machine story that never really evolves beyond its predictable beats, making it hard to care about anyone or anything in the game by the time the credits roll. Across all these systems, one thing stays the same. The game's open-world setting feels soulless. The NPCs, the environments, the missions, it all starts to blur together into a grey, monotonous grind. And while the gameplay loop can be satisfying in short bursts, there's just not enough substance to make it worth revisiting across multiple generations of consoles. Now, what would a Prototype 3 need to really elevate this series? For starters, it could continue Heller's journey, but take it up several notches. Imagine James Heller mastering his abilities, not just in combat, but in a way that revolutionizes how we explore the open world. Picture this, Heller can now swing around buildings using his tendrils, like a twisted take on Spider-Man's web-slinging, but with the organic, brutal aesthetics of Prototype. It's not just about movement, but how his powers could let him latch onto surfaces, pull structures apart, or use his environment in clever, destructive ways. A sequel should also dive deeper into Heller's internal struggle. What does it mean to be this monster, one who's learned to control his power but is constantly tempted to lose himself to the chaos? Give us moral choices, actual consequences for our destruction, and flesh out the world so that we feel connected to it rather than just mowing through waves of faceless enemies. Let us manipulate the viral infection in creative ways, evolving Heller's powers based on the player's choices. Do you want to be a stealthy predator or a walking apocalypse? And please, can we get a bit more diversity in the game's environments? If we're stuck in another grey cityscape, Prototype 3 will be as forgettable as its predecessors. Push Heller out of the crumbling city and into new, dynamic settings where his powers interact with the landscape in unique ways. In the end, Prototype 2 isn't a terrible game, it's just a forgettable one. No matter how many times I play it on different systems, it never feels like it's evolving into something greater. But if Radical Entertainment ever decided to resurrect this series, there's a real opportunity to take the foundation and build something special with Prototype 3. It just needs to embrace its identity fully, go darker, bolder, and for the love of everything, make the world worth caring about. I'm Snake Demon, and this has been The Snake Pit. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where I won't read them.